Hi, welcome to the Metaverse. I'm your host, Mark Zuckerberg, and today we're going to explore the endless possibilities that the Metaverse has to offer. But first, let me pick the phone real quick. Hello? Yes? Oh, wait, what? Seriously? How? No way. No one is using the Metaverse now? But I spent like 40 billion on it. Oh well. So it turns out the metaverse was a flop, and I'd better recuperate my losses by making this YouTube video. Hi. So that was a joke. I am not actually Mark Zuckerberg. I am just the guy who makes videos on this channel. And today we are going to talk about the metaverse. Or rather, a specific book about the metaverse. The Metaverse Handbook, written by Hugh Harrison Terry and Scott DJ Ski Kinney, with foreword by Paris Hilton. So, if you are watching this in 2023 or later, and this video didn't somehow time travel to 2021, then you probably know that Metaverse kinda disappeared. It's just gone now. Nobody cares about it. Nobody cared about it much when it was a thing, but now it's just not a thing at all. And I thought it would be very funny to read a hype book about it, a book that tells us what it was supposed to be. Because I never really understood what the metaverse was supposed to be, and I think a large portion of the reason why it failed was because people just didn't get it. For a long time, I thought that the metaverse was this virtual reality app that Facebook was making, Horizon Worlds, right? But then I saw some articles about how Fortnite is part of the metaverse now, and Roblox, and Minecraft, I think, too. And that was very confusing to me because, first of all of those video games have been around for years, and they were not metaverse before, so why are they suddenly a metaverse? Second, how exactly are they connected? What makes a bunch of different games a metaverse? I hope this book will answer all of our questions. Let's jump right in. In the past few years, there's been a lot of hype about new digital technologies and their commercial potential. Buzzwords like NFTs and metaverse have sprung up, oh yes, they did. And pixelated graphics of punks have sold for millions of dollars. That has raised quite a few eyebrows. Yeah, it has. Right now they are all worthless, but okay. It's undeniable that something big is happening in the tech landscape. Something big was happening. Or rather, wasn't. I mean, if nothing came out of it, then nothing big was happening, right? That's why Facebook has rebranded itself as Meta and is investing billions of dollars in virtual reality software. They no longer do that. They are still Meta, but they stopped investing in VR. Or at least they scaled down the investments. It feels weird to talk about it as if it's in the present. Like, the metaverse is a new digital space with huge commercial potential, and it's gathering momentum. No, it's not. I guess it had some sort of potential, but I don't think it's ever gathered much momentum, and it certainly isn't gathering it now. Even if you are not part of a tech company, it's going to provide you with opportunities, just like the internet did when it entered our homes and workplaces. Okay, so the metaverse is or was supposed to be a new step in the development of the internet. It's not that crazy of a thought. At the beginning, internet was just a bunch of static text pages, and then we got chat rooms and different websites, and then we got social media, and now the next step would probably be the metaverse, because social media is getting kind of stale. We are past the stage in social media where we were so interested in what our distant relatives or people we knew from high school are doing right now. We never really cared about that, but somehow we smashed that like button on their posts, and we do not do it anymore. So the nature is healing, I guess. Let's find out what the metaverse offers business leaders and creators. Yeah, let's try to find out. In 2020, something exciting happened. Really? During mandatory lockdowns and stay-at-home orders, digital experiences were flourishing, and importantly, they were generating profit. The young and young at heart alike sought out escape and connection in the virtual world. Wow, that's a terribly dystopian way of describing what happened in 2020. People were alone exploring the digital world because they couldn't do anything else, but it was generating profit, so that's good, that's exciting. This doesn't sit right with me. But let's continue reading. combat game Fortnite has grown its user base to 350 million. Combat. I've never heard anyone refer to an online shooter as combat game. I guess there are combat games like Fortnite where people kill each other for fun, but no one is actually hurt. And then, for someone who wants a little bit more spice and challenge, there is the Mortal Kombat games, where I assume if you die in the game, you die in real life. That's why it's called Mortal Kombat. This is actually what the Matrix referenced. You know, if you die in the Matrix, you die in real life, just like in Mortal Kombat. So why are we talking about Fortnite? Because the users generated 5 billion in revenue from the sale of digital accessories in 2020. And these are for your in-game character, not physical items. Yeah, selling skins for your weapons or your character has been a thing for years now. A lot of online games do that. A lot of offline games also sell cosmetic DLCs. It's not a new thing. Okay, let's keep reading. In 2021, Paris Hilton hosted a digital New Year's Eve party that attracted more than twice the number of people who were in Times Square. That's right. More people went to a virtual party than to see the ball drop in person. Yeah, no way. It's almost like it's much easier to log into some digital event than to actually fly to New York on New Year's Eve and then stand in the cold in the crowd for many, many hours to wait until the ball drops. Let's continue reading. Now, you are probably either impressed by these figures, or you are feeling a little cynical. Yeah, I think I am feeling a little cynical, mostly because I know that the metaverse flopped, but okay. As the metaverse develops, there will be opportunities for all sectors and brands to participate, whether it's using it in an immersive digital workplace or allowing customers to test out real-world products digitally first, using simulation technology. Okay, so now we are talking about some new technology that does not exist yet, like a development of the VR where you can get immersed and test something out in virtual reality and feel what it would be like to own the product. That's cool. How does Roblox fit into that? How does Fortnite fit into that? No idea. Maybe your brand will host a social space that will provide you with market feedback. Or perhaps you'll be using the metaverse in a way that we cannot even imagine yet. Oh yes, this is the famous "and more" that lazy copywriters put at the end of any product description. Like, you can use this product to do this thing, and also other things, and more. You decide, you bought the product. You are smart enough to figure out what to do with it. So, what exactly is this metaverse? Yes, that was my question from the very beginning, and I feel like they should have started with that. Simply speaking, the metaverse is a virtual realm made up of worlds that are created by builders. Well, that's also pretty vague, but maybe they will elaborate later. Confusingly, these worlds are also called metaverses, but to simplify here, we'll use the term metaverse to refer to the whole virtual universe that contains these different worlds. Okay, so first of all, how did you mess up terminology in a brand new thing? You didn't have any legacy terms because the metaverse is completely new. You do not have a community that managed to develop terms independently of your marketing team. So why did you use the same word to describe two different things? This is so bizarre. This whole metaverse thing is already pretty confusing, but you managed to make it worse for no reason. Just call these digital worlds digiverses, or realms, or whatever. Just pick a different word. There are literally billions of words in human language that you could have picked instead of metaverse to describe individual parts of the metaverse, but alright. Some worlds use a web browser as their point of access, like Decentraland, and some use gaming consoles. You can enter Fortnite's world using the PlayStation, and some use virtual reality headsets for a deeply immersive experience. This is the direction that Meta will be using in its VR experience, Horizon Worlds. Okay, so I'm still very confused. You're saying that the metaverse consists of these video games that already existed before it started. Then there is this VR app that Meta has been working on. And there is also some browser games. But how is it all connected? How is it a metaverse and not just a bunch of different games and apps that are kind of multiplayer? This is what I didn't understand at the beginning, and this book does not clarify it for me. But maybe it will. Maybe it will. Let's continue. Meta's goal is to create a virtual reality where people can meet, collaborate, and share experiences like going to a conference. You might end up not only working remotely, but working virtually. Your office could be in this metaverse. Your commute will be as simple as donning on your VR headset. And as soon as you're in, you'll be able to walk around, attend meetings, sit at your desk and work. I can do that at home. Even chat with colleagues as you pass them in the corridor. Because of this complete immersion, many people believe that the metaverse will supersede the internet as we currently know it. Alright, so let's unpack this. First of all, I understand now why Horizon Worlds failed, because I have been working remotely for years now. I've been doing that even before the pandemic started as a part of a distributed team of software developers for like 6 years. Our customers are in the US and part of our team in the US. Some of them are in Europe, where I am, but they are in different countries from me. So I have more experience of remote work than non-remote work. And I do miss human contact. I do miss the ability to chat with my colleagues or go on the tea break with them. It can be very lonely just sitting in your house, not seeing your colleagues or customers ever. But wearing a VR headset is not going to make you feel like you are actually in the room. You'll be just seeing their cartoonish avatars without legs floating around. You cannot actually go and grab some tea with your friend from work this way, because you will spill the tea, if you have a giant VR headset over your head. Maybe in the future, in 20 years, 50 years, when we will develop a perfect brain-computer interface, we will be able to be fully immersed in a virtual reality and feel everything as if it was real, or at least very close to it. And then the metaverse could have worked like they describe. But right now, it just doesn't work like that. You would probably get more human contact if you just have a video call with your colleague, because you can see their real face and not the cartoon avatar. The concept of these virtual realms isn't new. In fact, Neil Stephenson's novel Snow Crash depicted the metaverse, and it was published way back in 1992, long before the internet had made its way into our homes. Okay, so first of all, I didn't read Snow Crash, but I think I know the summary of the plot, and the metaverse in this book was not a good thing. It's a cyberpunk novel. Of course, it's a dystopia, so the metaverse there, it's not a thing that you want to make real because it's cool. Like the Starfleet from Star Trek. It's a dystopian thing that corporations do for profit. So I am not excited that Snow Crash is becoming a reality, or not becoming, I guess, because Metaverse flopped. Also, 1992 is not long before the internet made its way into our homes. The internet has been around in the 80s. And yes, in the early 90s, not many people had PCs, but at least tech-savvy people knew about the internet and the possibilities that it offers. But okay, let's continue reading. What's really given the metaverse its momentum is a shift in attitude towards digital assets, and digital assets refer to anything that exists in the digital world. Until 2021, these assets rarely had a defined monetary value attached to them, but all that changed in the second year of the pandemic. Okay, so that is just not true. People have been selling digital stuff for a couple of decades now. Any time you buy a video game from Steam, for example, you do not get a physical copy of the game, you just get the data that comprise the game. And games on Steam or any other online game store have a definite monetary value attached to them. Same with songs on Spotify or movies on streaming services. So people have been paying money for digital assets many years. It's not a new thing. I don't understand why this book and why the metaverse proponents keep telling me that it's something revolutionary, but okay, let's continue reading. You might have heard of non-fungible tokens, or NFTs. Oh yes, I definitely heard of them, and it's the funniest thing that happened on the internet in the last few years. To be fair, the concept of NFTs is not that crazy. We already bought digital things online. What makes NFT so different is blockchain, which is basically a database where you can only add new entries and not delete old entries, which means that everything that's written in there is staying there forever. And no single person or company owns it, so they cannot just purge it. The thing about NFTs is you can associate a digital asset like a picture of an ugly monkey with an entry in this blockchain database that says that this person owns this monkey. This is very similar to land registry. When you buy a house, you not only get the house itself, but also you get an entry in the government database that says that you now own this piece of real estate. What it means is that if someone else somehow gets into your house and says, I live here now, get out of here, and they push you out, then you can just go to the government and say, someone pushed me out of my own house, can you help me? And the government will say, yeah, sure, here's the police squad. They will escort this person out and probably put him into jail because they broke the law, because in our database we can see that you own this house, so they have no rights to be there. And the reason why NFTs failed is because the government, which keeps track of who owns what in real life, they have the authority and they have the means to enforce it. So if someone tries to take away your house, you can ask the government to help you to get it back. And since you illegally own it, the government is obligated to help you. But the blockchain doesn't really have any authority, and it definitely doesn't have the power to enforce something. What that means is, yes, technically there is an entry in the blockchain that you own this picture of a monkey, but anyone can screenshot that and just use it, and you cannot do anything about it. I guess people believe that at some point there will be developed some kind of way to enforce these ownership rights that are written in the blockchain. But it just didn't happen, and in the end, any potential value of this whole system evaporated because people completely stopped believing in it. So why are we talking about NFTs? In 2021, they became a must-have metaverse item, so much so that 11 billion worth of NFTs were traded in that year alone. Yeah, and it all went downhill from there. Suddenly, owning an NFT was like owning a Rolex or a Porsche. The advent of NFTs had given digital assets value in the eyes of society. And that value creates huge earnings potential for companies who are making digital assets. What is confusing to me is, again, there is another thing in this bundle of things that are supposed to be the metaverse, right? We have the games, we have the VR apps, and then we have NFTs now. So how do they all come together? How do they all form this one thing that is the metaverse? Let's continue reading, maybe they will tell us that. Now that you have a sense of what the metaverse is, we are going to take a quick look at the technology behind it. No! I do not have a sense of what the metaverse is. I am still confused. Am I stupid? Honest question. Please tell me in the comments. Please tell me if you understand what the metaverse is, based on what the book said. Or based on what you know, because I still do not understand it. You won't need an engineering degree to understand this. Well, that's cool, because I am apparently stupid. I hope they will keep it simple. What we'll share with you will help you understand the types of assets available to your brand and why it's possible to commercialize them. Keep in mind that we are currently in what the authors call Metaverse 1.0. And that means technology will continue to develop. There will be a version 2.0, 3.0, and so on. Okay, so I have no doubts that in a few years, people will try to make the metaverse a thing again based on some new technology, maybe AI, I don't know. But it will be Metaverse 2.0 and it will be real this time, trust me. One of the fundamentals of the metaverse is that every user should be able to personalize their metaverse experience. The metaverse needs to be built with tools that work across all kinds of different platforms, as well as allowing for all the endless variations that users might want. Users won't be forced to choose assets from a predetermined range. Instead, they can tell their building tool what they want. At the moment, Unity and Unreal Engine are the two main tools that builders are using. You can find a range of 3D modeling tools like AutoCAD or Cinema 4D, and creators can make whatever they like in these programs. Houses, animated pets, jetpacks, and then integrate them into the metaverse using Unity or Unreal Engine. Okay, so now that we are talking in technical terms, I understand a little bit better how the metaverse is supposed to work, but what I don't understand is how it is possible for it to work this way. The problem is, every game is different. Every game has different hardware requirements, different graphics, and you cannot just copy and paste assets between these games. Like Horizon Worlds, for example, the avatars there do not even have legs, so you cannot use your Fortnite skin in there. Or can you? I understand that creators are supposed to be able to build a 3D model, maybe animate it, and then you will be able to buy it and put it in one of those games or apps. But how are you supposed to move it between them? That's the question. That's the question that the book doesn't seem to be able to answer. What I just read was it. They do not talk about the technical aspects of it anymore. They just started to talk about blockchain. Blockchain will allow creators to develop digital assets like the NFTs, and to use NFTs and digital assets, you'll need an e-wallet, and you will use crypto to buy stuff in different metaverse worlds at different digital stores and showrooms. You can buy avatars, accessories like clothing or wearables, vehicles, artwork or furniture, and real estate. Oh yes, you can apparently buy real estate in the metaverse, which was a big thing at some point. Like, people paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, I think, on digital land, which makes zero sense to me. Again, what does it mean that you own land in the metaverse? You own land in a particular game or app. Like, you may buy land in the Horizon worlds, and you may build your house there, I guess. But will you be able to take your house with you in Fortnite? I don't think so. So how are they connected? How is this a metaverse? I'm sorry, my mind just cannot comprehend this. I feel like I'm going crazy. I feel like everyone knows what they are talking about, and I am the stupid one. Maybe it's true, but I don't think it is. I think the metaverse was just a scam from the very beginning. But the book is not over yet, so maybe it will get better. Let's continue reading. So far, we've been talking about the metaverse like it's a place. That's true, it's a digital place, but it's also useful to think about it as a piece of software. Software evolves over time. 20 years ago, you have been typing in Microsoft Word, and now you also do that, but you can also type in Microsoft Teams and chat with your colleagues. Is this also part of a metaverse? I don't know anymore. Software evolves, and right now we are working with Metaverse 1.0, and there is so much possibility and scope that we can't know exactly what version 2.0 or 3.0 will be like. Okay, so you are telling me that we have to use our imagination to understand what the metaverse is going to be, but this is just telling nothing. Imagine if any other product was advertised this way, like this thing. I don't know what it is. My wife uses this for her nails or something. So buy it right now, because this is the future. Possibilities are endless. You can put it on your nails, you can put it on your head, you can put it on your telephone, you can put it in garbage, you can do anything with it. There are no limits here. You can use this nail thing for everything. And in the future, humanity will develop innovative ways of using this that will blow your mind. So buy it now. This video is sponsored by the Cuticle Remover. I think this is how I pronounce this. So they tell you there is no way to know what the metaverse will be in the future, but it can be good, so the time to start integrating it into your business strategy is now. In the future, we'll figure out what to do with it, but you need to jump in right now, or you will miss the train. Then they describe a lot of different ways of using the metaverse. If you can take your existing customers with you on your journey into the metaverse, they will become the first users of your metaverse range. How can I use the metaverse for business? If you already have clients, you can bring them with you into the metaverse and they can buy things from you in the metaverse. But why would you do that? If they already buy your stuff, why would you need to move into the metaverse to sell stuff there? So if you make cool jackets, you might sell digital versions of the jackets on the metaverse, and the avatars can wear them. I guess that's cool. But I can also sell jackets in real life too. So then they spend a lot of time explaining how you would move your clients into the metaverse. But why would you do that? Explain to me. I don't understand why I want to move my customers. The only thing you told me is that in the future it might become very good, really good. We don't know what it will be, but let's just wait and see. And in the meantime, just bring all your customers there. An excellent starting point is buying a plot of land. You can even build a simple social space on your plot for people to hang out in. So again, why? Why would you spend real money on digital land and then bring your existing customers there and say, okay, hang out here. This is now the place where you hang out because you like me, right? You like me, you like what I do. So you should spend your time in the metaverse now. It is good for the metaverse, but is it good for me as a businessman? This book does nothing to make it seem so. Oh, you can also perform in front of your audience if you're an entertainer, which I am. So yeah, I can go on the metaverse and I can bring all 12 of my YouTube subscribers, half of which are my friends who do not even watch my videos but just subscribe because they are polite. So I can tell all of them, buy $400 VR headsets and then go to the Horizon Worlds and I will be doing live comedy there. You can create a digital twin program to perform on your behalf. Oh yes, this is perfect. I love not being an entertainer and instead programming a digital thing to be an entertainer instead of me. This is so bizarre. Like, who would want that? I guess some content creators who are only in it for the money would want that, because they do not like what they do, so they would rather program an AI to perform for them and just collect the paycheck. But this feels wrong to me, I don't know. And finally, you can be a metaverse geek. You can create like a space in the metaverse where you talk about stuff that you like, your niche hobby, for example. And you can do that because 50 Shades of Grey, yes, the novel and the movies, started its life as installments published on Twilight fanfiction websites, and now the woman who wrote it is a multimillionaire. What are you talking about? How does fanfiction and Twilight relate to the metaverse? What they are probably trying to say is, writing fanfiction on fan websites wasn't seen as a way to become a multimillionaire, but the woman who wrote 50 Shades of Grey managed to do that. And so you can also do something similar in the metaverse. You can also use it to somehow become a multimillionaire. It is as useless as writing fanfiction, but you might be one in many millions of people who make money off of it somehow. And who knows, you might end up in the annals of multiverse history. Yeah, maybe not. The annals of multiverse history will probably be pretty short, because it's basically gone now. So that was The Whole Blink, written by people who really want you to become part of the metaverse. These people came up with 0 arguments for the metaverse. They didn't explain properly what it is and how it's possible to somehow unite all of these different games and apps into one thing, and also slap an NFT on top of that, and blockchain, and all of these buzzwords. They didn't tell me how it all fits together. They didn't tell me how I can actually use it to promote my business. I can only move my existing business there, which would be a pretty silly thing to do because no one is in the metaverse. So why would I move there if I can just be in the place where my clients are already? Why would I need to spend time and effort to move them there? They use tons of buzzwords and vague promises. They didn't even have an imagination to think of something. They just promised that in the future, the metaverse will be something very cool. I know now why it failed, because apparently there is nothing behind this concept. It's just a bunch of buzzwords that nobody really understood, but everyone pretended that they understood them. For a while, it worked because everyone kept pretending that they know what's going on, and they could fool other people into giving them money through the metaverse somehow. But once everyone realized that it's not really working, it all just collapsed, and now it's gone. And that's for the best. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the normal universe, not in the metaverse. On this website, youtube.com, every Thursday, I think, I post new videos. So make sure to tune in next time. Bye-bye.